Alright, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to continue with our authentication, and what we are going to add is basically the login functionality, and we are going to add the fact that if we are currently logged in, we'll add the logout functionality and the fact that if we are currently logged in, then we can visit the secret page, otherwise we cannot visit the secret page. And one thing that in the last video, I realized that I had not shown you the redirecting to this particular page after the register, right? But the thing is that the code we had written is extremely accurate, and the only reason I could not show you is because I clicked on the button really quickly. So if you have this code, then you can register yourself as a new user and you will see that you are redirected to the secret page really well. You don't need to change anything here, right? Alright. So first of all, let's make a logout route so that we can check that later on. So logout is actually really simple, right? So when you do /logout, all we have to do is we have to do logout, right? And of course, this is some weird syntax that I wrote. This is not what it needs to be. And I'll remove these things. And alright, so this basically logs us out of the thing, and that's why logout is extremely simple, right? And now we can just do res.redirect /. Alright. So now what we need to do is we need to make new logout routes in the home and the links in the home page and the other page, secret page that we have. So I'll do href will be /logout and it will be logout, right? I'll also copy this line and I'll paste this into the secret page. Great. So now let me refresh, and when I click on logout, it takes me to the home page, and it does not seem like anything has changed yet. And the reason behind that is we do not have any indicator of whether we are logged in or logged out. And that is the reason why I actually want to add the functionality of the restricting the /secret page here. I would normally do that after I had shown you login too, but I didn't see any way currently that you can see that we are actually logged in or we are logged out, right? So that's why I think we can add that functionality first. So that for that we basically use something that is known as a middleware, right? So a middleware is something that you will use a lot of times from now on when you will move into a good stage of programming, which we are doing now, right? So a middleware is basically a function that you can tell Express to execute before your route's callback is executed. These are a lot of words, and it might seem like middleware is difficult to understand when I say these words, but I'll show you what it is and you'll understand it just one click, right? So let me say I add a middleware to this, right? Or I'll first, alright. So what I can do is I can make, right? What happens here? So is logged in will be a function, right? We'll make a function by the name of is logged in down below or up there, right? So what will happen is whenever we visit /secret, we will visit the is logged in function first before we visit this callback, right? And what will happen is inside this is logged in function, we will be having some logic that will tell us that if something is the case, then progress with the callback, otherwise redirect to somewhere else, right? So this is what a middleware is, and this is a function that will always be called before this recres function is called whenever we visit /secret, right? So this is basically all that we need to do in this particular route. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to add the is logged in function to our code, right? And the thing is that you do not need to put parentheses here, like you do not need to write this, because you are not calling the function here. The only thing you are giving Express is that this is the name of the function, and Express calls it by itself, right? So now let's make the function first. So I'll do function is logged in, right? And so this function now takes 3 arguments, right? And let me first write them and then I'll tell you what they are. rec-res and next. So up until now, you are habitual of seeing rec-res a lot of times. That's not a very big problem. But this next is actually a new thing. And we can have next up here too. And that is usually used to handle errors like in the routes, right? So you can have rec-res, but we're not seeing that yet. So basically, you'll get the use as soon as we start writing some code, right? So here, all we have to do is we have to write if rec dot is authenticated, right? And then we have to do return next. Otherwise, we have to do res dot redirect / login. So what did I do here? First of all, this rec dot is authenticated is a method that is added to the request object by passport, right? So when we included passport, this method was plugged into this request object. And what this does is this tells us if we are currently logged in or not. This returns true or false. So if we are logged in, this will return true, and then we will do return next. What this means is that wherever this middleware is included, so currently we've included it here. So what return next will do is it will tell the route to go forward and let this be executed, right? And you could add this middleware everywhere. You could add this in as many functions as you want. And what would happen is it will move to the next function that we have here, and this will be executed. Great. So we now have is logged in function, and otherwise, if we are not authenticated and this returns false, then we will be redirected to /login, right? So this is what the is logged in function will look like, and we'll call it in here. So now, once our server has restarted, which I'm sure it has, right? All right. So now we should not be able to visit the /secret page until we are logged in. If you remember, the last time we had pressed logout, so we are not logged in yet. And it redirects me to /login, right? Of course, the /login page isn't working yet. So to log in, I'll try to register something. So I'll do John Doe 3. Password will be the standard password. Then I'll submit. And you can see it redirects me to secret page, right? So first of all, this is a proof of the fact that the register redirect was working and the code hasn't changed. And second, we are now in a session. So now we can go back and we have to remove this S2. Now we're on the home page. And now if we do /secret, it lets us go there because now our session has been started and we are currently logged in. So we can do anything. We can refresh and we are still logged in, and we can go to the home page, we can refresh, and we are still logged in. So now you see that once we logged in using the register, then we were logged in forever, and like until we log out specifically. Let me try that out again. I'll press on logout. I'm redirected to home page. I do secret. I'm redirected to login, meaning I do not currently have access to go to the secret page. So you see, most of our functionality has been implemented now, right? And you can see how the session thing is actually working. That once we registered, it did not matter how many times we switched a page, we were logged in at all times until we pressed on the logout button specifically, right? So now you can see the register and logout functionality are working just fine. Now let's try login, right? So in the login, here it is. So I'll need to have another post route. So first of all, I like to have all the get routes separate and the post route separate. So I'll keep that up. And next I'll do app.post /login res. So what we're aiming to do is just like /register, we had a post and a get. Similarly, we'll have a post and a get by /login for the functionality of login, right? And so basically, the feature of login is also is really simple. Even though syntax is new, it's not a lot, right? Like register had a lot of logic. Login does not have a lot of logic. So login basically does not work through this kind of logic. It works through a middleware. So How that works is we give the middleware here, we say passport.authenticate, and this will be local, and we pass a second argument which is right, which is failure redirect slash login and success redirect slash secret. Alright, so what just happened? Basically what we did was we made a post route for login, and we don't need to have anything in the callback function here because everything that's happening will be through this particular route itself, right? So passport.authenticate here will be a middleware, just like the is logged in here was a middleware. Passport.authenticate here is a middleware, and what we've done is we've told it that we need the local strategy, and we've given a second argument which is an object, right? So these are basically the configuration settings for the login, saying that if our login is successful, meaning the success redirect, then redirect to slash secret, right? And if it is not successful, then redirect to slash login, right? So and this reminds me of one thing which is not related to particularly authentication, that up until now, even in Blogify, we have not handled errors very well. All we have done is console.log. So of course that is not something that we are supposed to do, and we need to have a really good error handling strategy. So the thing is, we'll actually handle errors all at once by the end, right? Because I didn't want to introduce how to handle errors just now. And once we reach the end, we'll get more comfortable with Express and all, and then we'll handle errors, and we'll have a really good strategy where the error will actually be displayed on the screen in a user readable manner, right? Great. So now our login should work after this. So let's refresh the page. Let's go. Alright, so login won't work yet because the login.ejs has not been modified, right? So let's change this. The action needs to be slash login. The method needs to be post, and we need to have a submit button here. What am I doing? We need to have a button which says submit. Great. And here you need to keep the name you need to pay attention to the name, right? This should be the name. Great. So now if I refresh and I go to login and I enter my name, so I'll try to log in into some existing user. So I'll log in into John Doe and I write the password as password. I'll submit. It takes me to the secret page, meaning my login was successful. So just to show you, I'll go back to this page and I'll try to visit slash secret, and then I'm able to do that. I'll log out again. I'll do slash secret, and I'm unable to go there, and it redirects me to login. So now I'll do John Doe 1, password is password. I'll submit. It takes me to secret, and I can go to home. I can come back to secret. So now you see how all of this works out, right? Everything works out, and everything fits into one place. And it did take a lot of time for us to actually get authentication running in just a simple app like this. And you might be thinking that it will take obviously more time in the Blogify, but if you think about it, it will always take the same amount of time because authentication will always be authentication. So in like a very small time, I was explaining, so it took around 1 hour, I guess, in totality. And if you are doing it by yourself, then you'll be probably able to implement the whole authentication thing in like half an hour or 45 minutes for the basics, right? And hence we can see how passport makes this very useful. And if you see the video that I have linked to in the introduction, then you will see how complex authentication is and why passport is actually really helpful, right? So now we have implemented our secret page basically code along, and this has given us a very good idea of how we can implement authentication. The next thing we'll do is we'll make authentication work in our Blogify app. After that, we'll implement the update and delete in that, which will make use of authentication too, because we'll only allow update and delete to the owner of the comment or the post, right? All right, so a lot of words there. Anyway, now we've finished authentication, and I'm sure you don't understand a lot of the syntax that we wrote during the configuration of passport. But the thing is, the syntax will always remain the same, and you don't actually need to worry about it a lot right now, right? Great. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.